Frederick Douglass, Republicans of Tarrant County.
Let me, do I have permission to change your
Yes, sir,
registration
you
to
do.
say? And what was that again?
The Frederick Douglass Republicans of Tarrant County. I'm the president.
Frederick Douglass Republicans of Tarrant County.
And I am the president.
The gallery come to order. Please give us your testimony, sir.
My name is Chaplain Rich Stoglin. I'm a native Texan, currently residing in Arlington, Texas, and I'm the president of the Frederick Douglass Republicans of Tarrant County. The renowned economist Dr. Thomas Sowell stated, one of the sad signs of our times is that we have demonized those who produce, subsidized those who refuse to produce, and canonized those who complain. While the founder of the Frederick Douglass Republicans of Tarrant County, the late Honorable Reeve Carey, stated to black and brown Americans, be an informed, intelligent voter. Make your vote count. Remember, freedom isn't free. Someone has to pay the price. Historically, Texas has elected 40 Democrats, 1 independent, 1 unionist, and 6 Republican governors. We must read and evaluate the prosperity of our great state under each party. On 4 through 6, 1867 in Houston, Texas, the Republican Party of Texas was created by 150 colored men and 20 white men. They did this in the name of justice then, and we're requesting redistricting in the name of justice now. I echo their clarion call to have Republican leadership in the great state of Texas. As a black American, Afghanistan veteran, a retired department head of the U.S. Department of Justice, I strongly support the Republican redistricting. I do not want, nor does the great state of Texas or this magnificent nation deserve to continue.
Gentlemen, will yield. The gentleman will be accorded the same respect that everyone testifying receives. We will come to order. Everyone, regardless of your belief, political persuasion, or age, or whoever you are an American, and you're entitled to be heard, and you will be heard in this committee. The audience will come to order. The gentleman is recognized to continue his testimony.
I do not want the great state of Texas or this magnificent nation deserve to continue seeing systemic gang and street violence, a plummeting educational system, communities deteriorating, men and women's sports, etc., while Democrats sit quietly and fall to condemn or acknowledge the systemic moral decay, screaming systemic racism for anything that does not fit their narrative. These acts of evil must stop. We need Republican leadership for such a time as this. Republicans have a larger story. Echoing the words of the American icon, Mr. Frederick Douglass, you will not be judged by the heights you have risen, but from the depths you have climbed. I am a Republican, a black dyed-in-the-wool Republican, and I never intend to belong to any other party but the party of freedom and progress, Frederick Douglass. We need and must have increased Republican leadership in the great state of Texas to remain great. As president of the Frederick Douglass Republicans of Tarrant County, I stand behind this statement. Simplified.
Thank you for your testimony.
Any questions for me?
Members, any questions for this witness?
And Mr. Chairman.
Yield. Hey, this is America. We hear from everyone, whether we agree with them or not. And the audience will come to order and extend the common courtesy of hearing every witness, regardless of their political persuasion. Now, with that basis, Mr. Manuel, for what purpose?
To ask the gentleman a question.
The gentleman yield for questions. Mr. Manuel is recognized question witness.
You made a statement when you were speaking, and I just want to kind of get the understanding of it. So you don't think that redlining in communities throughout the nation had anything to do with the decay that happened with communities as they were rising and as they were trying to form? If you all could not, it would because we need to move.
Let me answer your question, sir. The Democratic...
the gentleman will yield.
The Democratic Party created that redlining.
Gentlemen yield for one moment. Just so it's clear, questions only come from the dais. It's just in order for this process. So if the gentleman would be happy to answer Mr. Manuel's question,
sure.
Continue.
The Democratic Party created the redlining just like they created the Jim Crow laws, the hanging, all that. That was the Democratic Party,
okay,
sir. And then
so
people...
wait.
And people talked about
No, sir.
the
That's
litany.
not what I asked you. I asked you, did you think that redlining had anything to do with that? And also, you're
I think
being,
redlining, yes, sir, to answer your question, has something
and
to
you're
do
also
with it.
being just a little disingenuous because the parties had two different platforms at that time than where we are
No, sir.
today. It was a very different party. It was a very different platform.
I can hardly hear what you.
I know. If you all would, I know some people are excited, but we really can't get to the answers.
No, sir, we can't. I cannot hear you. I'm sorry.
What I'm saying is you were being a little disingenuous because at that time the party had two different platforms.
What time?
What
sir?
they
Which
are
part,
today.
What time? What
The
timeline?
party that you're talking about when it came to redlining, whenever people say Republicans, I don't care if you're Republican, Democrat, or Independent. I'm a Democrat. The point of it is, as someone who loves and adores history, the party had two different platforms.
So do
it
I.
wasn't the
And I'm a
same
historian.
platform. Wait 1 second. The parties had two different platforms. So you're being a little disingenuous to people when you try to say that it's Democrats. Yes, it was Southern Democrats with a very different platform than what Democrats currently have today. Because in 1965, there was not an LGBTQ movement, and neither Republican nor Democrat had it. That doesn't mean that it's the same party. So we can't say that, because they also had Dixiecrats, you had other Democrats, you had black Republicans. Yes, but it was a very different time. So I think it's best that we don't conflate that. No, you can't ask questions. I asked the question.
I'm going to answer you.
Me, so thank you so much.
No, sir. Mr. Chair, I'm trying to answer your question because what you said was not factually true.
You answered the question. I asked you about redlining. You agreed with that, and I appreciate
the gentleman
you.
may respond to the question, but
Thank you.
the questions.
But in all fair, I'm trying to have a conversation, but I cannot hardly hear you.
Ladies,
in
the gentleman, you for a moment. Just, it's important to remain a little quiet so they can hear, right? We want them to both be able to hear each other so that they can ask a question and answer. If the gentleman will gladly answer Mr. Manuel's questions, but questions cannot be asked from the front mic, just so it's clear.
Thank you, Mr.
The gentleman's recognized to answer the question.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In 1965, which you're talking about, which the Voting Rights Act was passed, it was signed by Lyndon B. Johnson, but it was voted primarily by Republicans in 1965. That's a fact. That's documented.
Members, any other questions for the witness? Okay. Thank you for your testimony. The gentleman is excused.
And Mr. Chair.
If Mr. John Gardner can come down. I apologize, sir. I apologize. But technically, since I've excused you, the gentleman's not recognized. If Mr. John Gardner could come down to this front mic. Thank you, sir. And we're going to recognize Lauren. No, we're not. All right. Chair recognizes Lauren Pena. I show you registered to testify as Lauren Pena on behalf of yourself on the revised congressional redistricting plan. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
If the gallery will come to order so that the lady can be afforded the respect due her as a testifying witness, please give us your testimony. Thank you.
Hi, thank you guys so much for letting me be here today. My name is Lauren Pena. I currently reside in one of the first housing projects ever implemented in the United States right now. All of our civil rights are being severely violated. I have reached out to every single elected official on my state, federal, and local level to try to get assistance for elderly and disabled that are trapped on the second, third, and fourth-story floors that can't even leave to go get groceries because the elevator's broken and they're in wheelchairs. None of my elected officials have been willing to help me. So yes, I am a Republican running for United States Congress, living in federal housing projects. Now, I would like to get over here and speak about some things that I would like to improve. I think that when John had brought up that there are about 700,000 people, if they could each be in a district like that. There are about 700,000 people that are in a HUD property right now in Texas, and we have absolutely no representation. So as far as this redistricting, I have two suggestions. One, we could go and we could let there be an at-large person, someone who is receiving these benefits, that could go and possibly just serve 2 terms, trade up the next generation so that we can keep having people that are actually in poverty having a voice in our government. or we can simply just take every major city and put a district inside the inner city, because that is the problem. We do not have representation inside the inner cities. And I can tell you all right now that it is not good. The conditions are not good. Your taxpayer dollars are being weaponized against me, my family, and all of the other people there. There are elderly, there are disabled, there are veterans. Their rights are being severely violated. And this is not a party thing. This should not be about who's a Republican or who's a Democrat. This is about human dignity. This is about people being harmed by these policies, and we have no representation. So I beg you guys, give my community, the poor community, people living in poverty, actual poverty, to have a voice in this nation. And thank you. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you for your testimony. Members, any questions for this witness? Chair Hisnot, thank you for your testimony. The witness is excused. I forgot to give an alert earlier about the closing of registration, so I'm going to extend it another 10 minutes. Registration will close at 6:40 p.m. 6:40 p.m. right out there out front. If you haven't registered to testify, we'd love for you to do that right out front.